Hear ye, hear ye. The high holy day of apple harvest has come.
Cool.
You did this in public?
Oh, yeah.
It's incredible.
If you guys... Welcome to Liturgical Shenanigans, a Wayfolk Arts podcast, with your hosts, Hannah,
Phil,
Jackson,
And Maddie. Happy Shenanigan Wednesday, Shenaniganisters.
I love that.
I thought we'd settled on shenanigators.
Anyways, welcome back, Shenaniganers.
Shenaniganimals?
How many times can we say it? We're glad you're here. I wanted to make a rhyme that some of us are queer. All right. Wow. I literally said, I can host it this week. I won't be awkward. We are off to just a terrible start. This week, Hannah is bringing us a joyful thing that she created. Fun fact, Hannah is in a class called Liturgical Shenanigans that we did not steal the name of for this podcast at all. We used it with permission.
We actually asked permission.
We did. That's true. Yeah, I made a thing for fall, and it's fall, so we have to do it.
The great high season of fall, the best time of year.
Yeah.
So, Hannah, what do you bring us, and what should we know about it?
Okay, so as Maddie said, I'm taking this class called Liturgical Shenanigans, and of course, as part of this class, one of the things we have to do is create liturgical shenanigans. And one of the things we did as a class was go to an apple orchard. We went on a field trip and went apple picking. But each of us had to bring a shenanigan with us to do while we were in the apple orchard. And we had the option of either, what were they? It was either do a ritual for like gratitude for nature's overabundance, or you could choose to do a lament for the impacts of climate change. And it was beautiful. We've got 6 people in the class. We had 3 people happen to choose each. I happened to choose the one that was gratitude for nature's overabundance.
I love it.
Yeah. So we're going to read the thing that I made, which is very, very ridiculous. I intentionally made it really ridiculous because I think there's not enough play in our rituals. So this is very playful. It is very likely that we will laugh while we're reading this to you. So
Thank God for that permission.
yeah. Trying to think if there's anything else you should know. I think perhaps my theme for all of my writings this particular season will be that it's a draft. There's a I really like what I made, and I'm excited to share it with you. And because I'm in this class learning about this, I feel like there are even more ways to finesse this. So perhaps you will see this again in the future on our website in a slightly adjusted form. But this is the version we're giving you today. So,
We love all versions of everything you write, Hannah.
well, thanks.
How would you like peeps to prepare their bodies?
I am struggling with this one because I don't know, like, it's not contemplative the way that a lot of our other ones are contemplative. So maybe
Find an apple.
Oh,
you
Contemplate
could
the
if you
apple.
No,
wanted
bite
to.
it.
Bite the apple.
Don't
the
bite the apple because if
oh no.
because then you could like do some of the things in the shenanigan as we say it. You could go get an apple if you wanted to.
Like the fruit, not the phone or computer or...
Right. No.
Right.
No, like the fruit. Maybe Still settle into your seat or into your feet as they touch the floor if you're standing doing dishes or something. But feel your body. And maybe this time, see if you can tap into the energy that is flowing through your body, even if you're still. And feel that energy as we share this ritual of gratitude for nature's abundance. A ritual for the high holy day of apple harvest. A mini shenanigan crafted by Hannah Barker Nicolai for Liturgical Shenanigans class on Honeycrisp opening day at Crane's Orchard, September 13, 2023. Place: near an apple tree, perhaps at an orchard.
Time: the first apple picking of the season.
Persons. Anyone. Everyone.
Objects: a basket of apples from the nearby tree or trees, maybe a knife for cutting an apple.
The apple caller, hereafter referred to as one, proclaims loudly throughout, complete with exuberant gestures of their choosing. Hear ye, the high holy day of apple harvest has come, and we have gathered to participate in abundance and give thanks.
The apple revelers form a circle. A basket of apple appears. Each person takes an apple and passes the basket.
Consider what is in your hands.
The apple revelers take a good look, inspecting every inch of the apple they have picked, using all their senses except taste. Exclamations of observation are permitted, perhaps encouraged.
We name some of those creatures that share in this abundance with us.
The apple revelers call out names of other creatures who share in or benefit from the apple bounty. Ideally, the apple revelers come prepared with a creature in mind, but as this is the inaugural ritual occurrence, here are some names. Deer,
Mice,
Rats,
Bears.
raccoons,
turkeys,
goats,
Pigs.
opossums,
badgers,
rabbits,
Foxes.
songbirds,
plum curculio,
apple sawfly.
Tarnished plant bug.
etc.
Observe their feeding grounds. The apple revelers migrate beneath one or two apple trees, seeking out the tiniest creatures present. Again, exclamations of observation are welcome. Circle the abundance.
The apple revelers encircle one of the trees and hold out their apples.
We give thanks to the Creator, author of generosity, who saw fit to make fruit trees that bear the seeds of the next generation and that hold in them the continuance of the harvest. May we steward this gift of abundance with wisdom, never forgetting those beings who share in this abundance with us. May we live our lives with similar, over-bountiful generosity.
The apple caller holds up their apple.
Are we thankful?
The apple revelers hold up their apples.
We
are thankful.
The circle breaks as the apple revelers seek out someone else to give their apple to. A hurly-burly of giving until everyone has gifted their apple at least once. Once everyone has given their apple away, the apple revelers participate in abundance by eating their apple. If many bites have been taken prior to this ritual and the apple revelers would rather share a single apple, one apple can be offered for cutting and distributing.
I have two thoughts. Well, many, but I have two really specific ones.
Tell me.
Did anyone ever play that apple picking board game, I guess, as a child?
Like Chutes and Ladders?
No, there was one. I know what you're... or like...
They were like...
there were
was
tiny...
it cherries?
I don't remember, but the
The
little...
little
there were-
apples and the basket.
Yep, there's a basket and little red fruit.
Yes.
No idea.
It unlocked a core memory of that weird game, and the little mini tiny apples were spiky, so like also of pain.
Oh, interesting.
And you put them in baskets, and you put the apples.
Yeah.
Such a bizarre. If
It was very
anyone
weird.
has ever played this game, I need to know that someone else has this core memory. Also, the other thought,
We'll make a Discord channel for
For
apple
Apple
picking
There you
game.
go.
I'll look it up later. What I was thinking of too was I'm the Lorax and I speak for the trees. That's what this reminded me of in
Yeah.
such a lovely way.
Nice. I'll take that.
I also understand why you didn't want anyone to bite an apple prior to this because it's
Yeah.
part of the
But
shenanigans.
it looks
part
like
of the
you've
shenanigans.
prepared for it. If everybody did bite their apple and no one else wants to eat it because
That
they
is
don't know
also
whose
true.
apple it was.
Yeah. Well, yes. And the other thing was, I knew I was creating this for a class where we were going to be at an apple orchard, and when you pick apples, you eat apples because it's like, yes, fruit directly off the tree. And we were going to be doing that, and then we were also going to be doing 6 rituals that we had all crafted, and I assumed other people probably also included apple eating in their rituals because we were at an apple orchard. And indeed, almost everyone's rituals included doing something with an apple. And my ritual was last. So I intentionally was like, we've eaten a lot of apples. I don't necessarily want to just like waste a bunch of apples, even though we're talking about nature's bountiful wastefulness. But also, how about we just share one apple and then that's enough? Yeah.
I can't let bountiful wastefulness go
Yeah,
by.
what? What does that mean?
Is that what you meant?
Yeah. Okay, so the professor of this class really loves words, and the actual prompt for this gratitude ritual was gratitude for nature's fecundity,
What?
which means
It's not
I
a
flip
real
flop the
word.
words. Wasteful bountifulness, like so abundant that there's too much. It can't all be consumed. Some of it has to rot.
But rotting is something consuming
Yes,
it.
sure.
That's a very human-centric view.
It's a
Oh my
very
goodness.
creatures that can bite into the large apple
That's
centered
fair.
view.
That's fair. Okay. I'm with you
Yeah,
now.
but just like nature creates more than enough.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And that's what we're celebrating, that there are all of these creatures that feed off of these trees, and yet nature has been created so that there's more than enough to feed all of these different types of animals.
Yeah.
There's so many that a basket of apples just appears.
Yes, which I knew that I was bringing a basket,
Got it.
which is also why one of the objects is a basket of apples. It was more playful. I decided it was going to appear
I
as though
love
by
that
magic.
a lot.
Yeah.
Who do you envision doing this? I could see our friend group doing this and being really playful with it and loving it, and me being really awkward about how everyone's looking at us, and my child licking an apple even though she's not supposed to yet. But who else?
I literally hope it's anyone and everyone. Like it could be families going to the apple orchard to pick apples together. It could be friend groups. It could be, that like every once in a while there's like groups of college students that go out and do like for your dorm, or it could be a youth group, or it could be a group from church, or it could be any other random organization that decides they want to go apple picking together. Like anybody.
Mischief makers invading someone's yard randomly and purloining fruits.
So I think it'd be really cool. It doesn't have to, this wouldn't be necessarily, well, it definitely wouldn't be on, what is this? Honey Crisp opening day necessarily.
Right.
But like World Communion Sunday,
Oh yeah.
if
For
you're
sure.
a place that doesn't necessarily do or doesn't want to do communion the same, but still wants to partake in the, I don't know. I just think that'd be a
Yeah.
really cool ritual for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like go to an
Yeah.
apple orchard and take communion via an apple together. I don't know.
That's fun.
There's also so many lines in here that even if, like if this were to be something that would repeat per season, there would be lines that would stand out to me as like well, maybe we don't do this whole ritual, but we always say these words. Like the hear ye, the high holy day of apple harvest has come. It's just such a perfect way to get out of the car.
Right.
And
Yeah, totally.
and go start picking apples. It's fun even to see lines like, just because I have been around you for so long, to have lines from other rituals in here as well. The are we thankful? We are thankful is like pieces of other rituals that persist into this ritual as well. So this one is full of just so many ways that you could use all of it, pieces and parts of it, and it would apply so beautifully to that sort of festive arriving at harvest time.
Yeah, it could be pumpkins or squash or grapes or blueberries. And you could still say, hear ye, the high holy day of blueberry harvest has come.
Right.
Or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and the playfulness and mindfulness of the whole thing. Like, first, let's consider what's in our hands. Let's be aware of what the gift of the apple is. You know, we talk about eating mindfully, even as a sort of potential holy moment, sacramental moment, thinking about the food and where it comes from and this sort of thing. And here we don't just do that. We think about its entire life and ecosystem and how we're connected to creation and walking around on the ground that gave birth to the apple. It's so earthy, dirt guy-ish.
What?
I'm wondering what every place's version of Apple Harvest Day is, because not every does every place have probably not an apple orchard.
Yeah.
But even within the US.
Oh, sure.
So like Florida and California, I'd imagine it'd be like oranges and lemons.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, I was about to say here it would be blueberries, but literally here it's apples.
It's apples here too, yeah. But also blueberries in July.
Yeah, or
Blueberries,
like
cherries.
salmon. Like there's
yeah.
Yeah.
seasons that these things happen.
Salmon Day.
or like where I grew up in Iowa, there's not a lot of
Is it corn?
orchards, and well, it could be corn, sweet corn,
It's corn.
in particular. But also, there's one you pick strawberry place where I grew up, so like it could be for those strawberries. Yeah, you could do it for anything.
I want to. Mine's terrible, so you go.
Well, I love that. I love these kinds of really easily adaptable shenanigans that can be done in whatever context makes sense fairly easily. It wouldn't be huge changes that would be made.
Right.
It's very accessible.
Yeah. And I also tried to make it something that like little ones would feel comfortable
Yes.
participating into.
This
So
is
like
very family friendly.
you run around and give your apple to somebody else, or like you're invited. Like the words I used were maybe a tiny bit formal for this, but like consider what is in your hands. Like what we did in the group was I allowed space for everyone to actually say, my apple has a big red spot on it, or my apple smells really floral, or mine doesn't have a stem anymore, or I can't smell mine, or and any of those sorts of things. So like I imagine little ones just being like,
That's actually
Yeah,
really
any of those
important
things.
for little ones,
Yeah.
particularly when they're learning to eat. Then the latest, maybe this was a thing, I don't know, but I'm being told as a new mom not to ask my child if something tastes good, but instead to say, how does it feel in your mouth? What does it smell like? How does it feel in your hand? And have them notice the sensory feelings instead of the pressure for, do you like it or not?
yeah,
Which this does.
yeah, totally.
That's really cool.
Totally. And to also have something where like little ones could also participate in noticing like what other animals have we
Yes.
seen in the orchard.
Worms, spiders.
Yeah. Yeah. Or yeah. Any of those things. Lots of
Perfection.
birds, maybe robins. Probably not robins. I don't know. But yeah, they're things that like if you just stop long enough to look, naming what you see changes you. Like actually pausing long enough to honor those things that you see. Yeah.
Which is, I think, hard to do in a place like an apple orchard, even though it doesn't feel like it should be. Every time, I love going apple picking, but it's for a photo op. What? Why are you laughing at
I was
me?
just taking a drink of coffee, so my laugh was late.
Okay.
Part of my laugh was like, oh yeah, one of my favorite pictures of me and Maddie is when we went to the
apple orchard. Yeah. I like being with the people in the apple orchard. I love getting a donut because usually it's also like cinnamon donut season and apple cider season.
So good.
But it's also usually so hot for why it shouldn't be, but it's so warm.
Climate change.
Yeah, so you can't be in your fall clothes, but I absolutely try to put on my fall clothes because that's what it should be.
Right.
And I'm taking pictures of now my child, but before it was asking someone to take a picture of me and my partner.
Yeah.
And then if I've picked an apple, it's because I wanted the picture of it. And oftentimes I'll pick too many apples and I can
Yes.
never possibly use or eat all of these
100%.
apples. What have I done?
It's too much fun to pick
Yes.
apples, so then
Yeah.
you go, oh no.
And then
I
they tell you
picked
how much
4
it
bags.
costs.
What do I do with it?
And they're like, that'll be $30 or whatever. And you're like,
Yep.
how did I do this?
Yep.
But
But also, that's like a whole. Oh,
it's a problem.
yeah.
This invites us to slow down and actually notice what we're doing and why we're there, or what the center of the stage is, which is the apple.
The creator of the apple.
Sure. But that's really beautiful.
It really is.
Yeah.
I also noticed that you're just eating these apples without paying for them. So
Well,
They encourage you to do that.
yeah,
You're allowed to do that in orchards.
what do you mean? It's only if you're taking like
Unless-
so many apples
Right.
with you.
You're allowed to do that in most orchards, but if you're not, like they'll tell you when you come in and be like, "Don't eat our apples." But
Has that ever happened anywhere?
I don't know. I haven't experienced that, but I assume that someone somewhere probably wouldn't like that. I don't know. But also, their apple trees are going to produce too many apples anyway.
Yes, and
so,
most of them are on the ground.
yeah. Anyway.
I do want to. So we've talked about the kind of sensory nature of this and the different pieces and things like that. I wanted to give you a chance to talk a little bit about the kind of ritual building blocks that are in this shenanigan. The kind of like things in it that you have really intentionally crafted into it to kind of ground us either physically or olfactorily, smells and tastes, sounds, all of that is kind of baked into this ritual in really interesting ways. And I wanted to just hear what your thought process was around what you included in here as far as like intentionally crafting a ritual goes.
Yes. Okay. So one of the things we're encouraged to do as part of this class is, as we're thinking about rituals, what are those physical pieces? Like rituals aren't just the words that we say. It's also like everything has meaning. Your actions have meaning. The objects you interact with have meaning. And sometimes, whether intentionally or not, and rituals sort of change and morph in their meaning over time as a community continues to practice them. But that was one of the things I tried to be really intentional about. Like, okay, I'm crafting a ritual for a day when we're going to an orchard. What's already there? What can we interact with? There are going to be apple trees there. I know that I will have a basket of apples and I will have too many apples. So could I gift some of them to other people? But then also making sure, I said this in the beginning, but I just so badly wanted to engage play in this particular ritual. So I wanted the words to be silly. And lend themselves toward that sort of over exuberance, like these words are ones that like you can't say seriously, those sorts of things. And at the end, when you have to like the goal at the end when you're running around trying to give your apple to someone is everyone has to give their apple away at least once. And unless everyone is tracking who's giving their apple to who, you're going to end up with like, oh, you haven't given your apple to anyone. Here, I'll trade apples with you. even though I've already given mine away. So like it's just going to be both sort of this improvisational space with a little bit of guidelines so that you know what you're doing, but like you kind of have to pay attention to yourself, to each other, and to the things that you're interacting with in this ritual. And one of the other things that I didn't have words to describe my intentionality around it until I started reading this really cool book called Carrying Liturgies by Susan Marie Smith. She describes the principles of ritual that another ritual scholar talks about. It's very nerdy. But one of the things she talks about is that one of the things that happens in rituals is power dynamics change. And power is given away in a lot of ritual circumstances. So the thing that I ended up doing was, in this gratitude for abundance, shifting the focus away from humanity and what we get from creation, and shift it to acknowledging that we share in the abundance. Like, it's not just us that this apple tree provides for, it's so many other pieces of creation. So let's take the time to name them, to think about what's there, and let's take the time to look at the tiniest ones that we might not think about at first go around as we're naming animals. Like all those bugs, like I had to go and research a bunch of bugs, but then like there's, and of course there's more than that, right? But to take the time to name these things, to look at these things, starts to shift some of that power away from us as humans and give it back to the rest of creation. Which, yeah, it was just if we're thinking about this within the larger theme of climate change related rituals, that is something that we need, like that power shift has to happen for the earth to heal. So even though this isn't a lament for all of the things that we have done that has hurt the earth, this is a way for us to joyfully practice giving that power back to creation so that we can be in a more equal relationship with it.
Well, and on that note, in your list of animals that you did include, which I know that your intention is for people to just kind of come with a creature in mind,
Yeah.
But in this list, you have animals that are often seen as nuisances. So a raccoon is annoying.
Right.
A rat is disgusting. Is it possum or opossum? Okay. Well, anyways, that animal is often also not great to discover. They're ones that you want people to come and get rid of if you have them.
Yep.
And we're celebrating them here, which I think is really lovely.
Yeah.
Some of these, I don't know what an apple sawfly is. I really want to look it up now, though.
Yeah.
And I think the playfulness is extremely appropriate because an activity like this is playful. And this gives us permission to really lean into that. I mean, it's nature's playground. Like, we're all outside enjoying creation, running around. And I think particularly if you have kids, it's really tempting to be like, get back here, you're disrupting everybody's apple picking. And no, you want to be safe and it's meant to be fun.
Right.
And you've given permission for it to be fun instead of just a photo op like some of us are guilty of.
Yeah. That's also one of the things that I have a heart for in rituals and in worship spaces is for people who need that space to be not so rigid and so legalistic in order to participate more fully. I want to create spaces that invite people into the way of being that is most natural for them. And this was one of my attempts to do that.
Thanks,
Also-
Hannah. Oh,
Well, just this is the same thing y'all were talking about, but I got stuck or continued on with thinking about the gift giving back and forth. And then you went to the nature thing, which feels directly connected to just this whole bigger idea, no, bigger, but another idea of, I want to say like anti-capitalism, but it's more than that. It's like the questioning of ownership, mine, yoursness. What's the word I'm looking for even? Possession. But this idea that, you know, as I was saying, like, you know, you ate them without paying for them, but like, because you can approach it in a very transactional way, right? Like, these are their apples, and then I'm putting them in this bag, and now they're my apples. And then like, no, actually, they're just apples, and humans are freaking weird and like made up ownership as a system and whatever. But in this, like, the passing back and forth really is an active letting go several times of what is mine and accepting a gift that I didn't pick or whatever. I only have this because someone put it in my hand. And there's a very, along with the same thing with the animals and with the tree, this whole acknowledgement of who does all of this belong to? Both like not us and all of us.
Yeah.
Is really lovely.
that is lovely. Well, we're at our time. Hannah, is this, I know you said this was a draft. Is it going to be available for people to read and look at in its draft form?
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
I'm totally fine if people, if you are still going apple picking this season. We tried to do this early enough so that it would still be during apple picking season. Feel free to use it. I'm fine with that. I just might also put a new one out there. And it won't change, I don't think, hugely. There's
Yeah.
just a couple of details that I want to tweak.
So it'll be linked then in the description of the episode if you want to read it, use it. A fun challenge. What if you turned it into a trick-or-treating ritual of some kind and you used candy as your celebration?
Oh, that's delightful.
Maybe not something nature made, something a human processed, but still equally playful and joyful, depending on when in the season you're listening to this.
Yeah.
And we'd really love to hear how you received it if you just listened to it. And then if you use it, how did you use it?
Yeah.
You can let us know by communicating with us via our Facebook page, our Instagram. If you go to our website, www.wayfolkarts.com, we have a contact us section and you can send us an email. We also have a Discord channel.
Come play on our Discord, which is more awake than it's been
Yeah.
ever this last month. So
Yeah, it's cool.
please join us more.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Got
sure.
some fun conversation going on there.
And if you
Not to name drop. I won't.
enjoyed
But
this,
you know who you are, so thank you. I'm done now, Maddie.
Anyways, if you enjoyed this conversation and you want to hear Phil continue to talk over me, you can do so via our extended episode by joining our Patreon.
Yeah. You can find the book. You get early access to episodes over there. There's a number of great tiers over there, but the first tier of patronship on Patreon, you get access to the after show, which is another 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 sometimes minutes of us continuing to talk about all sorts of liturgical shenanigans sort of things.
And going off in tangents and Maddie getting into trouble. And you know what? It's less editing.
It is much less editing over there. So if you want to hear the track before I start editing it, become a patron of the show.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We are so thankful for our liturgical shenaniganisters.
Shenaniganders.
Nice.
Shenaniganders.
Oh, that's cute.
And apple
That's
pickers.
creation-y.
And, a happy fall.
Happy fall, everyone.
We
Bye,
love
friends.
you. Bye.
I hope that's becoming a thing.